2022, and this is the regular meeting of our governing board. I do need to get a motion to adjourn from our executive session.
Madam President, I move that we adjourn from executive session.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Mrs. Nye, could you please do our roll call? Here.
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 Thank you. Would you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. We'll start with a few routine business items. Our first is to approve the minutes of the March 9th, 2022 regular board meeting. Could I please get a motion to approve those minutes?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the March 9th, 2022 regular board meeting as presented.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion carries. Next, we need to approve and ratify our payroll and accounts payable vouchers. Could I get a motion, please?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve and ratify payroll and accounts payable vouchers.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Mr. Narducci, do you have any correspondence for us?
Madam President, members of the board, yes, I do. We have David Woodruff, the chairman of the Chandler Cultural Foundation, who has contacted us. And he says, on behalf of the board of directors of the Chandler Cultural Foundation, I want to thank you for all your support and effort to name one of the theaters at the Chandler Center for the Arts after Stina Murray. As you know, Stina is a longtime board member and major contributor to the foundation. Her continual support of youth programming as well as other arts initiatives has been vital for the Cultural Foundation to carry out its mission. It's inspiring that CUSD also recognizes Stina's contributions to the arts, as the arts are important to youth of our community and CUSD's mission. In closing, I want to again thank you and your support of Chandler Cultural Foundation's initiative to name the theater main stage after Stina. The board is excited, and Stina's leadership and generosity for the arts will be memorialized with the naming of that theater. Best regards, David Woodruff.
Thank you, Mr. Narducci. One of my favorite parts is next, and that is our student recognition portion of the meeting. So, Mr. Locke, take it away.
Well, thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, would you join me and Mr. Narducci to congratulate these individuals tonight? And I'll start off with the ACP Middle School VEX team. Come to the front of the stage, please. Come on up. This is the best prop ever, isn't it? Take a look at this, huh? Did they get a vote with the robot tonight, school board? Anyway, we're going to start with the VEX team, robotics team. So the ACP middle school teams, 7830A and 7830C, under the direction of Kim Meyer. Kim, would you wave? They recently won some team championships. Also, Team 7830A also received the Excellent Award and Robotic Skills Championship Award. And Team 7830K earned the Design Award as well. Now, all four ACP middle school teams will be competing at the World Championships from May 2nd to May 5th in Dallas. So show us your stuff. Just amazing. Thank you, kids. Yep. Shake the school board's hand and come on through. Him too. Okay, follow the robot.
We're not responsible for any injuries that happen. You're all well insured.
That's awesome. Next, the speech debate team. Congratulations. Thank you. Next is the ACP High School speech and debate team. Look at that hardware, huh? It's pretty impressive. So the ACP Erie speech and debate team in February won the Division II state championship for the third consecutive year. In addition to winning the title, 12 students or teams were crowned individual state champions. This team is extremely active. They participated in the Arizona district competition, and 11 students qualified to attend nationals in Louisville, Kentucky. The Knights won first place in 5 of 6 events against Division I and Division II schools. The school has 108 students on the team, and they competed in, like I said, 19 events. The team is under the direction of Mr. Norm Runze. We want to wish the team well in Kentucky. That's amazing. Thank you, guys. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good deal, everybody. Thank you. Fantastic. Finally, Perry High School's DECA State and National Award winners. We have a couple of representatives on that team. Come on forward. So just before spring break, the Perry DECA, which is Marketing 1 and 2, student-based enterprise and cooperative education classes, competed at the Arizona DECA State competition with the following results. The group was honored with the Community Service Award for accomplishing the most of community service hours in Arizona. So they also earned the Century Award for having 100+ members. The Pumas were also honored nationally by having the second largest in the state, as well as a Chapter Advocacy Award. While Puma Den won the silver and Puma Den Retail got a bronze for Puma Den Food. Perry High School DECA is one of 4 Arizona schools and one of only 59 nationally to win the National DECA Advocacy Awards. Congratulations to Coach Rob Lang and the entire team. Congratulations. And that concludes tonight's recognition. Congratulations.
Was there some sanitizer somewhere? Thank you. Thanks.
Next, we have our student body president reports. Megan Finder from Hamilton High School will be telling us what's going on at Hamilton. Megan?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Megan Finder, and I am the student body president of Hamilton High School, and I'm grateful to be back for the opportunity to speak about what is happening on our campus. There's been a great deal of success even through spring break, so I'm excited to share that with you. To start off, the week of February 14th through 18th, the Husky Nation celebrated Valentine's Day and Kindness Week. Each day, Stugo took initiatives to encourage kindness, such as our heart attack walls. We wrote every student's name and every faculty member's name on hearts so they could search the walls and take them. Additionally, we worked with a group of therapy dogs who traditionally go to ASU for finals and the airport to calm stressed passengers. They were welcomed with open arms on our campus, and we were thankful to have them. Lastly, National Random Act of Kindness Day was celebrated on Friday, February 18th. This slide shows pictures from our 4.0 ceremony celebrating students with a 4.0 cumulative GPA for their respective high school years. Each of our student government class presidents spoke for their grade, and the ceremony was also live streamed. This is a very high honor, and it is important to recognize all of our qualifying students. Coach Tuck and Coach Gonzalez were inducted into the Chandler Sports Hall of Fame this year. Both of these coaches have worked incredibly hard, and it has shown in their successful programs. HHS and Chandler Unified are definitely lucky to have them. The Hamilton High School Science Bowl team placed second in the state at the Arizona Science Bowl competition. The team consists of 5 students: Andrew, Bouchan, Devil, Hillary, and Richard. Additionally, and not pictured, is our academic decathlon team who recently claimed the state championship title. On February 25th, Hamilton Theater hosted Night of Scenes. This annual show is a collaboration of theater scenes that make up an hour-long performance. Also, this is many students' first time being in a live show, as well as an opportunity to learn about performing. We are so happy to host shows through a successful theater department. We are so proud to announce that Hamilton High School Winter Drumline and Color Guard standings. At the Basha Winter Invitational, Color Guard placed 3rd and Drumline placed 1st. The indoor percussion group is ranked number 1 headed into championships on Saturday. Both teams have worked long hours to stand where they are, and it is always a blast to watch them perform. Another fantastic team, the Hamilton Drill Team, had their state championships. They have quite a few titles that I would like to share with you. They won 2nd place in armed regulation drill, 3rd place in unarmed regulation drill, and 3rd place in 4-person exhibition drill unarmed. These photos specifically are from their march with our spring sports at our most recent assembly. 4 Hamilton High School art student submissions to the 2022 State of the City Art Contest won. Each earned one of the following titles: Mayor's Choice Award, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. The theme was Chandler Through Your Eyes. A huge congratulations to Mrs. Tabor and her students for their beautiful work. Continuing with our art department, Mrs. Tabor and her students also teamed up with local artists to redesign and bring new creations to Hamilton's nearby traffic boxes. These intricate pieces bring plenty of interest, and our community would definitely agree. Next up, our spring sports assembly. This was our last assembly of the year, preceded by a Versus Spirit Week. We teased our prom theme, which will be released this Friday, and introduced our spring sports teams. We also held a teachers versus students game of dodgeball to collaborate with the week, and we watched a few performances. I'd like to recognize Connor, who played the national anthem on the bagpipes. The second he started playing, the crowd knew he was a fan favorite. On the left, Hamilton Sparrow Club adopted a 3-year-old named Livy. She has a rare genetic brain disease that has caused her the inability to walk and talk. Livy was in attendance at our spring assembly, where we shared her story with the entire student body. She is the first ever Sparrow at HHS, and with the partnership of BlackRock, our student service hours turn into a donation to her family. If you are interested in more of her story, you can scan the QR code to watch a video later. On the right side of the slide is a student named Nathan, who donated all of his weekend tip money to our Ukraine fundraiser. The student government partnered with UNICEF to raise money for children in Ukraine. We are so excited to announce that in 1 week, we raised almost $4,000. It is amazing how our students' compassion is contributing globally. HHS Micha Club partnered with the Pulsera Project to support artists in Nicaragua and Guatemala. This slide shows our very awesome team lead security guard, Hubert, from Nicaragua. He bought a handful, and this is what he said: "It's a way to help people in my country." The tags on each bracelet show the artist who made it, and the additional information for their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hamilton boys basketball is a part of our winter sports, but they have completed a very successful season. With multiple upset wins, these boys worked their way to championships, led by Coach Harris, who was named 2021 to 2022 Coach of the Year. Taking on the Perry Pumas at state, this was the deepest run for the ring in our school history. I can personally say the student section was top tier. Lastly, the Hamilton Softball Nike Elite program hosted an inaugural Hamilton Invitational. This was a huge event where teams traveled from near and far, and they even had donations from local businesses such as Raising Cane's. This 4-day tournament hosted at our home fields was a result of hard work and dedication from staff, coaches, boosters, and more. Looking ahead, there's a lot that happens at the end of the school year, and as a senior, I can say I will definitely have a hard time to leave this wonderful community. I cannot do what I do without the support of our administration team, Principal De La Torre, and our two sponsors, Miss Violet Richard and Miss Tina Carriers. But that's not all. I would like to extend a thank you to our students and faculty, as well as the governing board for their individual and sometimes behind-the-scenes efforts. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's great. We always appreciate hearing what's going on at Hamilton. I think Lindsay especially, right?
Go
For those-
Huskies.
And now we have Nathan Lamb from Perry High School to tell us what's going on at Perry, or what has been going on at Perry.
This is work. Okay. Good evening, Madam President, Superintendent Arducci, and the governing board. My name is Nathan Lamb, and I'm the student body president at Perry High School, and I'm once again very honored to have the opportunity to share the exciting events and happenings at our school with you all. To begin, our athletics have continued to thrive at state, national, and regional events, bringing home various awards to the Puma Nation. Perry Cheer became the state champions in show cheer and the state runner-ups in all-girls stunt. Additionally, they competed in Orlando, Florida at nationals and placed 4th in their division out of 108 teams. Meanwhile, our Perry Pommies earned their first state champions title in jazz and placed 6th in pom. Our boys basketball team also took home the state champion trophy. Senior Dylan Anderson was named the AZ Gatorade Player of the Year. Cody Williams was named AIA 6A Defensive Player of the Year, and Coach Sam Duane was named AIA 6A Coach of the Year. Our girls basketball team were also the state runner-ups. Perry boys soccer made it to the state play-in game, while girls soccer were the state runner-ups, while our unified track team finished a great season, and our unified basketball team successfully competed in the AIA Special Olympics competitive tournament. Our boys wrestling team placed 20th at state, and our girls wrestling team placed 44th. Senior Herschel Hall placed 4th at states, and Ariana Mock placed 6th. Lastly, Perry baseball player Jeremy Sprague was recently recognized in the news for a courageous act over break. On the way to a friend's house, he noticed a burning car in a neighborhood north of Hamilton High and called 911 for medical help and took action by helping move 4 teens away from the car as more flames erupted. Given his team's Courage Award for the week, we're proud of the selflessness Jeremy embodied in his work to protect those around him. We're extremely appreciative of the hardworking student athletes at our school and are thankful for the tremendous support that our athletic staff and coaches have given our students in order to refine their abilities and practice. In club news, Operation Smile recently finished their chocolate fundraiser through the World's Finest Chocolate in order to raise money for children in need of cleft palate surgeries around the world. In 2 weeks, the club raised over $4,000 by selling 75 boxes of chocolate in order to support their global cause. Aside from this, they have been engaged with the local front too, with trips to Feed My Starving Children and more. Our Rho Kappa Social Studies Honor Society also recently rounded up their book drive for Books for Africa, the largest shipper of donated text and library books to Africa to promote literacy throughout the continent. Over a week, they collected children's picture, children's chapter, young adult, non-fiction books, and textbooks that will be shipped in order to transform many children's lives. Perry's Spanish Honor Society has also been hosting a 6-week conversational Spanish class for the senior citizens at the Enclave community with great success. While our classmates have been continuing to pursue their interests and expand their knowledge in and out of school in a manner that extends beyond themselves and reaches out to our local communities, Perry Stugo has been working diligently in creating events that propels the highly spirited and driven community that the Perry student body is known to embrace. Before our week of events, 12 delegates from our council attended the AASC State Leadership Conference, where we were able to network with many other student leaders and guest speakers from around the state and nation in order to gain greater insight on the strategies we can utilize to promote interaction with our student body. On our first day, we were dressed to the theme of Mamma Mia for Favorite Musical Day and continued the music theme by dressing up as Britney Spears for Favorite Artist Day until our final day where we stacked out in our Perry gear to show our school spirit. During the conference, Perry Stugo also earned the Outstanding Council of Distinction Award, the highest level of recognition a council can get for their ability to become involved with both the community and student body. Although the 3 nights were restless, I'm confident in saying that our delegates returned from the event with enlightened perspectives on achieving a greater spirit within Perry, as well as with a greater understanding of one another that paves the path for success in Perry Stugo's future. As our Morp Week arrived, we kicked it off with a weekend of decorating our hallways to the theme. From collages of purple and neon lights to LED clouds and blue handprints, our council decked our halls out to the color theme of our Morp events. That Monday, we also held our annual dodgeball tournament where over 30 teams of students and teachers competed for the title of Perry Dodgeball Champions, a championship ring, and a cash prize. 300 students packed our bleachers to witness the event go down until one team won the entire bracket. We also held a Morp Spirit Week where our student body dressed up to days such as Y2K or 2006 and Skaters versus Surfers. Over the week, we also held a fundraiser for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation in order to raise money and spread awareness on the importance of furthering research to expand our understanding of diabetes and its adverse effects on our population. On our Friday Blackout Day, we also held our quarterly assembly where the nationally acclaimed Electrolytes hyped up our student body with their dance, followed by a heated tug-of-war musical chairs game, throwouts, and sports recognition. The following day, we hosted our Morp Dance in our bus barn parking lot where 900 students became covered in foam while singing to our favorite songs and dancing. As the event progressed, I continued to be amazed and proud of the hard work that our council has put into pushing the boundaries and standards we've set ourselves in the past in order to ensure Perry students enjoy and feel welcomed in the environment that our campus offers. Looking ahead, our council is working day and night to prepare for our 4th quarter week of events for our prom, a fairy tale ending, our fairy tale themed and inspired dance that will be held at Corona Ranch this upcoming May. Our council is also excited to be heading to the CUSD convention tomorrow to get to work with CUSD's future leaders that are destined to make great change. I find myself often repeating this, but throughout this entire year, I've been humbled and so grateful to work with such a passionate, dedicated yet bonded council in order to plan events for Perry High. It's not often that someone can come across a group where each individual offers such unique insight to a student body and works aimlessly to improve the school and society, and I'm excited to see what our council can do for the rest of the year. Before I leave, I'd like to mention that I do have some more merch from Perry for the board, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to hand them off to someone because they're like specific to your shirt sizes. So, but once again, words cannot express the amount of gratitude I have for giving me the privilege of sharing all of the amazing things that are happening at Perry High, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. So thank you for your time.
Nathan, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming out and letting us know what's going on at Perry, and also for the, shall I call it bling or whatever? Okay, thank you. So next we come to our citizens' comment portion of the meeting, and Terry Locke, can you tell us about any online comments and then move on to the citizens' comments in person?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. There were no online comments this year in this cycle in the last 3 weeks. And we have 3 people to speak tonight. And during public comments, members of the governing board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to state statute, action taken as a result of public comments is limited to directing staff to review the matter, responding to criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. The board president reserves the right to ensure that speakers present on topics that are within the board's jurisdiction. Everyone is asked to present their comments in a respectable and courteous manner. Profanity or threats of harm will not be tolerated. Our first speaker is Kurt Rohrs of Chandler, who would like to talk about school finance.
Good evening. My name is Kurt Rohrs. I'm a parent in this district. I'm here to speak to you tonight about district financial resources. In a previous meeting, I had asked for the cash balances that the district has on hand. The request was refused at that time with a comment by the superintendent to provide this public information privately after the meeting. The subsequent discussion was highly unsatisfactory and disappointing in its lack of transparency. I was essentially told to go find it myself. Fortunately, I was able to develop resources on my own to obtain those balances by other more helpful civil servants. The district keeps its cash funds on deposit in banks and cash accounts controlled by the Maricopa County Treasurer's Office, hence the term cash controlled account. As of February 28, 2022, the district had over $269 million on deposit in these accounts, including roughly $27 million in operating funds, $80 million in federal grants, $20 million in state grants, $119 million in capital funds, and $22 million in debt service, which presumably is used to pay down interest on bonds. These figures come directly from the Maricopa County Treasurer's Office. They are accurate. In addition, the district also has substantial funds in non-controlled accounts at another local bank and accounts for student activities funds, community education funds, tax credit funds, auxiliary funds, and other various fund accounts, which totaled over $30 million at the beginning of the fiscal year. Now, some of these funds are term restricted in their use, and others not so much. However, a skillful CFO, which we have, should be able to use replacement funding strategies to free up substantial funds for use by the district. That is what they do. In addition, I had asked the district administration for their policy in managing target balance for these very large accounts. It is recognized that some reserve funds are necessary in the interest of prudent financial policy. However, the district apparently does not have any policies in place. I was able to obtain a model policy developed at another district that had corrected this oversight, and I will provide it to the board administration. The district should replace the apparent unofficial policy of grabbing every penny they can get their hands on and stashing it away. There is no financial justification for the district to pull another $40 million in funds from the taxpaying public in their override authorization for the next budget year. That would simply be unethical. So before the district responds with school finance is too complicated for mere mortals to understand, please consider that all taxpayers understand what nearly $300 million cash in the bank means. So instead, please respond with transparency, clear explanations, and prudent policies, because that would be the right thing to do. Thank you.
Next is Crystal Markowski of Chandler, who wants to talk about anti-school bills.
Madam President, members of the board, my name is Crystal Markowski, and I'm a CUSD parent. Today, Governor Ducey signed some egregious bills, and I echo House Member Reginald Boulding's sentiment that it's a dark day in the history of the state of Arizona. We know that what happens at the Arizona legislative level will directly, and unfortunately often negatively, impact the students and staff at CUSD. We've seen this throughout the past couple of years. Arizona's and CUSD students in particular deserve to attend schools where they're safe and protected and able to learn. The bill signed today will bring fear and uncertainty to the children here in our community. I wanted to speak up tonight to let you know that if you are scared or vulnerable or feeling attacked by today's signings, that I hope you know you're not alone. There are good people who are willing to stand up for your rights, your safety, and your humanity. Thank you.
Next is Ann Adams of Chandler. I'd like to talk about Senate Bill 1269 and spending.
Hi, my name is Ann Adams. I have two students at Hamilton High School. The two topics are concerning spending and the disappearing money for teachers that was set aside, and the upcoming bill SB 1269, which puts students first in spending. The things that you do as school board members is, of course, uphold your oath of office, which is to serve your community, which would be me and my children, your students and your parents, and to be good stewards of the money. When we say a 20% raise for our teachers, we didn't mean 16.5. So I'm just trying to understand where all the money goes and why high-level positions have car allowances, and we're creating even more high six-figure positions instead of paying the teachers what we promised. So I feel like there can be some cuts in these departments of curriculum in the superintendent's office in these areas. There certainly are some expenses that could be cut back on. Students first means take care of our students first and honor that promise with the 20%. And then my question is, why are we short? What do we need to cut? What am I not understanding here? SB 1269, I've just started to dig into, and it's a student first spending bill, and who it made me think of right away was Craig Gilbert, because a long time ago he said we overspend as a district when it comes to these special needs kids, like and the ESA money that's distributed in this would particularly help my family and my son, who's not getting served well at Hamilton. I mean, the use that you've done with the money when it comes to like online tutoring, that doesn't help a kid with an IEP at all. After school and before school tutoring doesn't help your teachers. It burdens them, and it burdens the children. They're at school for 7 hours a day. Do something while they're at school with the money that you have and be effective with it. But this SB 1269 might be a solution for my family, because maybe I'll have to pull my kid out of school and use more ESA money instead of the other proposal, which was to spend $30,000 on my kid, which Craig Gilbert said that's too much money, which I agree with. Let's not waste our taxpayer dollars. Let's help the kids that need it, that have special needs. And we're not. So look further into this SB 1269. It might save some of that top-heavy money that you said you were wasting, and put students first. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming out and speaking to us on the topics that are important to you. So thank you so much. Next, we have our consent agenda, and that will be presented by Mr. Narducci.
Madam President, members of the board, the first one is monetary gifts. Request approval for monetary gifts generously donated to Chandler schools totaling $97,577.83. Also under donations, request approval of the items generously donated to Chandler schools totaling $9,435. The following items that I'm going to talk about have contract increases. These contract increase requests are due to an increase in school purchasing power. So with additional funding out there, they are spending money for needs of students and or increase in costs that we're incurring. So the first one is 7.03, contract increase, East Bay Incorporated. The board approved annual contracts with estimated spending on June 9th, 2021. At the time, $250,000 was estimated for East Bay Incorporated, utilizing proposal number 77-20-24 for team uniforms, accessories, and equipment. The district is requesting approval to increase the total amount to $300,000 for additional items needed for the remainder of the 21-22 school year. A contract increase with Simpson Norton. The board approved annual contracts with estimated spending on June 9th, 2021. At that time, $100,000 was estimated for Simpson Norton utilizing Mojave contract 20E-SNC-0825 for golf cart purchases, repair, and maintenance. The district is requesting approval to increase the total amount to $200,000 for additional services as needed for the remainder of the 21-22 school year as well. Another contract increase, Save Contract 69-18-22. The board approved the annual contracts estimated at June 9th for the sum of $120,000 and utilizing Save Contract 69-18-22. Multiple vendors were awarded the bid under the contract, such as Milano Music Center, West Music Center, J.W. Pepper, and Music and Arts Center. The district is requesting approval to increase the total amount to $160,000 for additional items needed for the remainder of this school year. Under Save Contract 21-2226, as required by the Arizona State procurement rules, the governing board must approve the utilization of cooperative contracts in which expenditures under the contract exceed $150,000. The district is requesting approval to utilize Save Contract number 21-22-26 for instructional aids and supplies. Multiple vendors were awarded this contract, and we utilize vendors such as Lakeshore Learning Materials, Ward Science, Flynn Scientific, and Dick Blick. Based on current expenditures and anticipated spending for the remainder of the school year, the district is seeking approval to utilize Save Contract 21-22-26 in the amount not to exceed $250,000. Under consent agenda item 7.07, Save Contract 12-5551-56-13, The board approved annual contracts with estimated spending on June 9th. At the time, $1,100,000 was estimated for Peoria Unified School District SAVE Cooperative Contract number 67-5551-01-21 for student travel and group tours. That contract has expired. The district is requesting approval in the amount of $250,000 to utilize the new Peoria Unified School District SAVE Cooperative Contract for additional field trips to be taken for the remainder of the 21-22 school year. Item 7.08 is a contract increase, a SAVE contract 18-19MP. The board approved annual contracts with estimated spending at the beginning of the year. At the time, $500,000 was estimated for Mesa Public Schools SAVE Cooperative Contract 18-19MP for student travel and group tours. The district is requesting approval to increase the total amount to $635,000 for field trips during the remainder of this school year. And the last one is Human Resources. We're presenting for you the employment separation, compensation, and job descriptions herein.
Thank you, Mr. Narducci. Could I get a motion, please, to approve the consent agenda?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
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 The motion carries. Now we'll move on to our action items. Our first is the CTA Independence asphalt removal and replacement. Mr. Fletcher.
Madam President, members of the board, CTA Independence opened in 2006. All the asphalt on the site needs to be removed and replaced. The total square footage is 80,525 square feet. The scope of work includes, but is not limited to, asphalt removal and replacement, grading and compacting, and striping. The district has chosen to contract with Sunland Asphalt via a Mojave Educational Services cooperative contract, which complies with all school procurement rules. The district and Sunland have agreed to a cost of $354,853.32, which we believe is fair and reasonable in this market. We recommend approval of Sunland Asphalt for the CTA Independence asphalt removal and replacement in the amount of $354,853.32 via a Mojave contract.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Could I please get a motion?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve Sunland Asphalt for the CTA Independence asphalt removal and replacement in the amount of $354,853.32 via the Mojave contract.
Second.
Are there any questions for Mr. Fletcher or comments from the board? Mr. Fletcher, I'm looking, so I have one. I'm looking at the map of CTA Independence, and it looks like there is a small new section that is also being added. Is that correct? It's the lighter pink area on the map.
Are you talking on the south portion of?
Yes, the south, I guess, east portion. If north is at the top, I guess it is.
Yes, that's what it looks like, yes. I'd have to get more specific on it.
So it looks like though they're increasing some of the parking area or
Or a little more asphalt for them,
area.
yes.
Okay. Do we know whether that's supposed to be used for parking or whether that's going to be like some kind
I
of?
do not know that question. I
Okay.
don't know the answer to that question at this time.
Okay. What do we do in terms of maintenance of the asphalt after it has been laid?
Well, we currently have our own sealer tank and equipment to crack, fill, and seal parking lots. Unfortunately, parking lots that are older than when we got the equipment are beyond saving at this point. So we are on a rotation schedule with those that we can save, the newer parking lots. But the older ones, they're just too far gone for us to be able to do it.
Okay. And then when the asphalt companies come out, they say it needs replacement.
This one definitely needs replacement.
Okay. What are some of the characteristics that we see when the asphalt needs replacement?
There is no asphalt.
It's like,
It's a lot of rock, it's a lot of fine particles. You really don't see any sealer, you see the rock and the asphalt, so this one is definitely beyond repair.
great. Are there any other questions?
I had two. Have y'all worked up a schedule of other projects yet that are going to have recoats or
We are working
replacements?
on that currently.
Second question, a lot of this is fire lane, so are we going to go to some adjacent ways funds for some of this?
We will be looking at that, correct. Our priority right now is to get it approved because the company won't even give us a schedule until they have something in hand.
So you're going to just like send an exhibit, do an exhibit and have them do that square footage and have that be a separate number inside the contract?
Depending on what Lana has budgeted for adjacent ways, because we've already used a pretty significant portion of that this year.
All right.
Any other questions? All right, all those in favor of the repaving of CTA Independence, utilizing Sunland Asphalt via the Mojave contract, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Our next is also for Mr. Fletcher, painting at Perry High School.
Madam President, members of the board, Perry High School opened in 2007, and currently all the metal canopies are peeling and need to be sandblasted and painted. In addition, all the hollow metal doors and windows and frames need to be repainted, and it's just too big of a project for us internally. The district will contract with Riddle Painting and Coatings via Mojave Educational Services Cooperative, which complies with all school procurement rules. The cost of this work is $237,570.64, which we believe is fair and reasonable in the current market. We recommend approval of Riddle Painting and Coatings to perform the scope of work at Perry High School in the amount of $237,570.64.
Thank you. Could I please get a motion?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve Riddle Painting and Coatings Company to perform the scope of work at Perry High School in the amount of $237,570.64.
Second.
Any questions for Mr. Fletcher? Mrs. Bruner, you looked like you might have had one? No? Okay. Mr. Fletcher, will this be done with students on campus? Or will it be done in the afternoons, evenings, or?
It'll probably be done when students are not on campus. However, a lot of the prep work may be done while they're there. Everything has to be taped off, secured, so that we can come in and sand it and paint it. So I would imagine it'd be a combination, but probably the painting will not occur.
Until
There's
summer,
students on
probably till
campus.
weekends or summer or something along those lines. Okay.
Correct.
If there's no other questions, all those in favor of approving Riddle Painting and Coatings to perform the scope of work at Perry High, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. And then our last action item for the evening is district-wide PA system upgrade. Mr. Fletcher.
Madam President, members of the board, before I get into this item, you can imagine with schools ranging in age from 1958 to 2021, the variety of systems we have across the district. The goal of this is to put us all on one system, district-wide, so that we have one item that people need to be trained on, et cetera. And in addition, it gives the district some flexibility as to public address announcements. Madam President, members of the board, the district would like to standardize public address systems district-wide. Currently, there are a variety of systems due to when the facility was built and the technology available at the time. As one can imagine, managing a variety of different systems can cause service issues, including programs, parts, wiring, et cetera. The technology department has been evaluating a variety of products over the last several months and have decided that the Atlas high-performance dual-channel audio amplifier is the best choice for the district, and I cannot answer what that is in any depth. The advantage of this new product are single web interface for all schools, remote configuration, automatic backup to the cloud, field technicians trained on one system rather than multiple systems, and the ability to broadcast from a central location. The purchase and installation of the systems will be made through CCS Presentation Systems via an Arizona state procurement contract, which complies with all school procurement rules. The project will encompass 50 sites plus one spare. The project should be complete by the start of school in July 2022. The total not to exceed amount for this project is $525,191.22. The reason we have a not to exceed is until we get above the ceilings, we do not know how much wiring may need to be replaced. So we're carrying a budget line in this number that we believe will go down eventually. We recommend approval of CCS Presentation Systems for the district-wide PA project not to exceed the total amount of $525,191.22.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Could I get a motion, please?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve CCS Presentation Systems for the district-wide PA project not to exceed the total amount of $525,191.22.
Second.
All right, are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes. Mr.
Mr.
Worth.
Fletcher, it's incredibly inexpensive for 50 sites. Help me understand.
Well, there's a combination of things that we believe to be true, that not every speaker needs to be replaced, that we have some wiring that's significantly in good shape, and the module has gone down incredible. If you remember, Mr. Worth, back in the days when we did the Duquesne Smart Systems, that was $250,000
That's what I'm
alone
remembering.
for one school. So we started at $800,000, a budget of $800,000, and have worked our way down from that by doing more research, testing products. So we believe it's a very competitive price, and we're actually very happy with
Very
the total
competitive.
amount.
Thank you.
And I'll just kind of piggyback on that. You know, when I first looked at it, I kind of went, and then when I realized there were 50 sites, and you divide that by 50, you know, you're looking at around 10 grand per site. And I'm like, wow, that is a
We were
really
very
big-
happy with the pricing.
So, yes, Mr. Olive.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't have time to ask you earlier about it. I just wanted to make sure this isn't going to be like proprietary, like as far as like pieces or parts or proprietary service. We don't have to go to the same company every time for service if something needs to be taken care of.
There's a 3-year service contract in here for the Atlas piece of it. But as far as the wiring, the speakers, et cetera, there's nothing proprietary.
Any other questions?
I just have one. So 50 sites?
All your ancillary buildings, district
Okay.
office, CLC, COA, maintenance, warehouse, central kitchen,
Thanks.
IRC. The nice part about this is if Mr. Narducci wants to put out an announcement to say, everyone go to this website at 2:30 for X, it will broadcast across the entire district,
Wow.
which was one of his requests.
That's a lot of power, Mr.
I
Narducci.
reserve that right not to do that as well. And I think the Atlas High Performance Dual Channel Audio Amplifier is another term for flux capacitor.
I like it.
So, but that is the part that is making all that work supposedly, from what we understand.
All right. All those in favor of utilizing CCS presentation systems for the district-wide PA project, please say aye.
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 The motion carries. Next, we'll move on to our information items. Our first one is about dynamic PE ASAP. Dr. Gilbert.
Madam President, members of the board, for your information, Dynamic PEASAP provides
Ray? Not loud or something.
Is that better? How about that? All right. Madam President, members of the board, for your information, Dynamic PEASAP provides K-12 lesson plans that provide teachers with sequenced and structured lessons The dynamic PE SAP resources can be used as is, or teachers can choose the plan that best completes their program. Dynamic PE resources are available online for teachers to use with physical education classes. Teachers can download and print resource material if desired. Because the materials are web-based, there's no need for student accounts. Teachers will be provided 3 hours of professional development to learn how to access, plan with, and use these resources and open education physical education resources. Dynamic PE is K-12 resources will be used district-wide by teachers who provide K-12 physical education instruction in conjunction with open education physical education resources. Having access to both resources provides teachers a balance of traditional physical education activities with activities that reflect a student-centered approach. In accordance with ARS 15721, access to the curriculum will be placed on display for a 60-day public review period for comments at the Melinda Romero Instructional Resource Center, starting March 31st, 2022. Total cost for the dynamic PE ASAP K-12 resource is $0.
Are there any questions for Dr. Gilbert? How is this a free resource?
I will turn that over to my expert, Dr. Edgar, who ran this through her team through curriculum instruction.
And since the other one is both, yes.
Together. Perfect. So good evening, Madam President, Superintendent Narducci, members of the board. Open education resources are resources that are provided for free, sometimes by a national nonprofit. And what they do is they provide these resources for free. And we do look at these resources when we do vet and we look at RFIs and RFPs to see if these resources would benefit our students. And we have been using Open PE and dynamic pieces in our K-6 for some time now. We're looking at adding a more robust lesson resource for our 7-12. So that's why we're doing this.
Okay. I just wanted to add, it's Dr. Pangrazi, too, from ASU, who's really well known in elementary PE.
And are these that much different than what PE teachers are doing? Is this going to be the only curriculum that they'll be using, or will it complement some of their other portions of the curriculum?
It'll complement. So what we do is we still use the state standards, our PE pieces, the national standard, as well as looking at the aligned state pieces. And this will just complement with some lessons. So it's very nice for our PE teachers to look at these lessons that are already created, vetted, and really align them with what their task or standard might be for that week or that day or that unit.
Okay. And on most of these links that are, I think in most of these, you can look at the links just from the board agenda to see the different curriculum for different grade levels and samples of what they're doing. Is that correct?
You're correct. So since they're open education resources, anybody can look at them from the comforts of their home, which is nice. So you can come in. We'll have a laptop available if you check into the IRC, or you can look at them at home, and we'll make sure that we post that on the curriculum page on our CUSD80.com website.
Great. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Dr. Gilbert, I think you have the next one for open education, physical education. Very similar.
Madam President, members of the board, for your information, Open Education Physical Education provides pre-K-12 outcomes-based resources focused on engaging students in learning with positive communication, effective discussion, instructional flexibility, and responsiveness at no cost. The Open PhysEd.org resource are guided models that can be edited and customized to best meet the needs of diverse students and teacher environments. Open PhysEd pre-K-12 resources are available online for teachers to use with physical education classes. Teachers can download and print resource materials if desired. Because the materials are web-based, there is no need for student accounts. Teachers will be provided 3 hours of professional development to learn how to access, plan with, and use the resources and dynamic PE ASAP K-12 resources. OpenPhysEd.org pre-K-12 resources will be used district-wide by teachers who support pre-K-12 physical education instruction in conjunction with dynamic PE ASAP K-12 resources. In accordance with ARS 15721, access to the curriculum will be placed on display for a 60-day public review period for comment at the Melinda Romero Instructional Resource Center starting March 31st, 2022. As you mentioned in the other, this is also at zero cost.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments for Dr. Gilbert? All right. Our next is the Script Digital Workflow Platform. And let me check on that. Mrs. Berry.
Sorry about that. The Arizona Department of Administration awarded Link and Company the State of Arizona contract CTR 056526 in August of 2021 to provide a digital workflow solution called Script to districts in the state. Link product Script provides the ability to easily create custom digital forms and automate workflow, allowing districts to switch from paperless forms to digital. The Script platform includes custom workflows, electronic form builders, secure and compliant cloud-based storage, and e-signature capabilities. The district would like to enter into an agreement with Link for the use of their Script platform to create paperless workflow and to improve efficiencies with district-wide processes. The agreement with Link for Script would include unlimited use of the Script platform, a dedicated implementation specialist, and training. Each member district in the state of Arizona, including Chandler Unified School District, is entitled to utilize Script at no cost for 2 years. Year one would be 100% funded directly by the Arizona Department of Administration. The Arizona Department of Administration may also pay for year two, but if not, 100% of the year two cost will be paid by Link. After year two, the district will have the option to enter into a paid plan with Link to continue services. At this time, if the district decides to continue services with Link, the formal agreement and quote will be brought back to the governing board for approval before entering into a paid plan. So tonight we're asking you to approve this agreement.
I think this is an information item. Yes, yeah, so it should be on the agenda next time.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So anybody have questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mrs. Bruner.
I just was curious if we could get the number for what year three would be if we start becoming reliant on the system. It'd be nice to know what we're in for long term.
Sure, they sent us a quote. So currently the quote says $165,000 on the note for the first year. We'll bring that back in year three. So that's when it would actually get approved, because then there's an actual procurement piece related to that side of it. So that's why the governing board would approve that at that point. We'll bring it back to you. One of the questions we had immediately was, do we get to keep all the digital forms, everything we've created? Yes, we do. It's all ours. And so we can make a determination at that point. Do we want to continue to use Link, or do we want to use something else, a different provider? Colleen Flannery and her team have looked at a number of products of trying to digitalize forms, from field trip forms to HR forms to transportation to reimbursement forms, things that we're doing not electronically, but we have to have a lot of signatures on that go through a lot of different hands. And it was really expensive, but we were looking at different platforms. So we're really excited when we learned about this and that the state has contracted using some federal dollars through ESSER to contract with us for us to be able to utilize this. We like Link and we like the options, but we would bring it back to the board, and it's probably going to cost about $150,000 to $200,000 in year three.
And are there elements to it where things get stored on a cloud, and are there security requirements?
Yes, and they'll be stored on a number of hours. We'll have the ability to walk through those processes. We will start a team as soon as we get through tonight. We will start on the process because it is a grant through the state. We'll start implementing that and determining where we'll locate all of those pieces. So that will be important. Colleen and her team will help us with that moving forward. But again, they're our documents. They're not someone else's, so it's not like we lose those in the future.
Ms. Bruner, also just wanted to add on top of what Ms. Berry said that we see that it offers a little bit more security also for the documents that are being signed. And right now in schools and public schools across the state, they're just being mailed or hand carried or delivered. And some of the documents are a little more secure that way, but also they get to the intended person that needs to do the signature and pass it on. So a little more efficiency built into timeliness of getting those things moved forward as well.
So Ms. Bruner's first question was also my first question, and the second question is, if they don't re-up this and you have a bunch of electronic forms, are you still able to reuse those forms, or still able to change those forms or anything like that? How much? What's the part you're paying for? What is the functionality of it?
Sure, we should be able to use those because they're in like a PDF form. They're in documents we'll be able to save and utilize. So we looked at different ways to convert a lot of our number of products into PDF forms and different products. We should be able to use those forms. It's helping us convert into a form that we can use. But again, we'll want to continue with a product. If it's not this product, it'll probably be a different type of product at that time that is available. And it will cost us. We know that. We've been looking at those. And can we convert the data that we have or the forms that we have into a different product? And they said, yes, we will be able to do that. So we'll use a different product after this point. It's just what product will we use? Will we continue to use Link, which is called, Script now, or a different product? One thing that we are supposed to be guaranteed is that we will save efficiencies within our workflow. And so it's supposed to save us man hours and manpower so that we can redivert those hours to other things, so that our staff, it might not be that we've reduced staff, but now our staff can focus on other things that are needed within our district versus some of the manual things that we're doing now.
Okay.
Ms. Love?
With forms that like parents would have to sign, like you mentioned, like field trip forms, does this make it easier to provide forms in different languages as well?
We've paid for an interpreter in a different format, a different company to help us with that piece, and we'll probably link those up. But I don't have the specifics yet on how that will work. Okay. But we have entered into a contract to have someone help us, support us with different languages going forward, and we just did that this spring.
Okay.
Do we see that this may also, I guess, be applicable to things like in special ed, like IEPs and flow with that, so so that we can, I guess, streamline some of the processes and perhaps allow people to spend less time doing paperwork than and actually working with the students?
I think we entered into IEP Pro a number of years ago to help with that, so it's electronic format. This is more of all those manual forms that we're filling out. IEP Pro is pretty much electronic at this point. There's not too many of those pieces. Kim could add to that if there is any others, but more of the forms that aren't electronic. But do you want to respond on any other special ed ones? There are forms in special ed.
Dr. Marshall's been advocating for
Good
this
evening.
for many
This
years.
is part of the, for instance, we have to have what we determine like a wet signature on initial placements, initial consent for services, and for permission to evaluate. Those are the main three areas that we must have parent signatures on before we can provide services to students with related services as well.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments?
One thing I want to make a comment about, sorry, is tonight, the reason it's informational is because there is no financial exchange with the district in that form, and then we'll bring it back in year 3 if there is a financial piece, but wanted to bring that forward.
So at the end of 2 years, you can decide.
Yes.
All right. All right, if there's no other questions or comments on our Script Digital workflow platform, we'll go on to the board agenda roadmap. Our next meeting will be April 13th. Looks like we'll be having some Prop 301 and ESSER 3 updates. And then we'll have another meeting on April 27th. So we have 2 in April. And then we'll start getting into May and graduations, and before we know it, the school year is going to be over with.
And there's only one meeting in May.
Yeah, I see that, because we'll be at graduations. So, all right.
I do have a question.
Yes.
The graduations as they are in here, are those times changing? Because it sounds like we have several of them taking place at the same time in one night. And this looks like it doesn't match up to what was presented.
Ms. Love, the times are correct there. The times are changing because locations are changing as well. And so we're going to do our best to divvy up and get to all the, get people out to the graduation sites. So when we do have our board members sign up, as well as myself and administration, we'll make sure that we have somebody at each of the sites during graduation. And we have some of our alternative sites that are offered on a different night, and I know you particularly like to go to some of those as well, and so we'd encourage board members to attend those prior, which are on different dates as well.
So the times on the board agenda roadmap are accurate, and those aren't?
Because this is different.
Because I signed up. Okay, because I wanted to sign up for 2 graduations, but they were occurring within like 30 minutes of each other, so this changes everything on that form. So.
Okay. I'll go ahead and put in the correct times off of this and send it back down that way then.
Okay, I was going to be
sign
very
up.
sad because most of our like major graduations are like at the same time, and I'm like, no.
Yes, they are.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So I'll finish doing that while Mr. Narducci gives us his superintendent comments.
Sure. Madam President, members of the board, we returned from spring break this week. Teachers and school staff on Monday, and then students returned on Tuesday. Hopefully everyone was well rested and ready to hit the ground running for the fourth quarter. We have a lot happening in the next 2 months ahead, and a lot of culminating events punctuated with a in-person graduation. And I know we've had a little bit of concerns on the graduations that have come to us, about 5 emails that we had addressed. We moved all of our graduations to our high school stadiums. At the time of decision, we talked with our high school principals, and because of the time the decision had to be made, there were restrictions based on mitigation at the ASU facility, as well as there was also distribution of ticket allotments that were also restricted as well, or we had to provide that service as well there. And then there was also an increase in revenue cost over what we were already paying, which was all given to us later than what we had anticipated at the beginning of this year. So we do apologize for families that feel they've received information late, but it's when we met with principals, they felt that there was better control of conditions of how we run a graduation at their sites, and they were hoping to pull them back to the school sites rather than having them off campus. Castillo High School English teacher Mary Powell learned recently that she had been selected as one of 30 teachers in the nation to attend the White House 2022 Teacher Institute. This is a fully funded summer study. She was also the recipient of an award for the Institute in Colonial Williamsburg, Virginia, for teachers as well. So she's done a remarkable job. 19 elementary schools took part in the CUSD Elementary Choir Festival that we held right before break, and I think I mentioned it briefly. But the elementary choirs spent the day at the Chandler Center of the Arts working with choir members from other schools to rehearse and perform choral repertoire. Each school also got a chance to sing on stage at the CCA and receive feedback from other schools. And this is feedback not only from staff, but from students as well. Chandler High School choirs under the direction of Wendy Umbriana also performed for all the elementary schools and gave the students a look at what awaits them when they continue singing at the secondary level. Thank you to the elementary choral directors for making this happen. This is kind of above and beyond what they normally do, and our students really had a great time. After a 2-year layoff due to the pandemic, one of our signature events, the Chandler Elementary Track Meet, will return April 4th at Perry High School. It is exciting to see all the school colors and stands and on the track and field as students represent their schools in their favorite events. Just before our break, every single junior high ran individual runoffs at the elementaries, and these are the students that qualified from all of our elementaries. We hope the board can attend and help us pass out medals to the winners. You will want to arrive early, as you don't want to miss the school mascot race, which is an amazing, amazing event. I know Ms. Brunner's already told me she's going to be there helping, so I appreciate that as well. Likewise, after 1 year hiatus, the CUSD Student Leadership Conference is back on for tomorrow. So if you want to come and hear kids scream, yell, and roar, we're going to be at Chandler High School. The student council representatives from all of our schools will descend upon Chandler High to participate in the year's event, which will be held at Austin Field, which is the football stadium. The theme this year is appropriate, Watch Us Lead, and will begin at 10 a.m. The students raise money for a nonprofit each year, and they present it to that nonprofit. This year, they chose Chandler Care Center, so our director, Katie Kale, will be on hand to receive a donation from all of our schools. The governing board is welcome to attend. If you let us know you can be there, we will even reserve your parking for you. Okay? Thanks for the support of the Chandler Innovation Fair sponsors, Intel, Northrop Grumman, Waste Management, and First Things First. 5 schools in our district who participated in the 2022 Chandler Innovation Fair will be given a $500 scholarship award each. The award will support the winning school's organization science club or efforts, and the winners include ACP High School, Hamilton High School, Anderson Junior High School, Knox Gifted Academy, and Basha High School. So we were just given that information today from Micah Miranda with the city. These schools will be recognized Monday, April 11th at 6 p.m. at the Chandler City Council study session. The Chandler High School's Multimedia and Film Wolf News team received the Broadcast of Excellence Award from the Student Television Network in a national contest. The award is a result of all the hard work and dedication they put into their weekly video announcements, which meet professional quality production. Perry High School students also won Best of Show for their Cactus Collection exhibit at Scottsdale Fashion Square unveiled on March 2nd. Perry was the only high school participating. They competed against 14 working artists in an open call from Scottsdale Public Art to design an 8-foot-tall styrofoam cactus based on one of Arizona's 5 Cs. This group chose copper as their theme and wanted to pay respect to all the mining towns in Arizona, as well as the indigenous tribes that have copper mines on their land. The Scottsdale Cactus Collective exhibit is on display through the end of March. Congratulations to Perry's sculpture teacher, Sharon Beamond, and her students. Jacobson Elementary first grade teacher Jan Johnson won a classroom makeover from National Company Schoolgirl Style. Her classroom was transformed during the first week of break, and she is thrilled with the result. This happened midway through the break, so students and staff returned to seeing the final product. And we want to congratulate Jan. We did get to see video as they unveiled it, and she had family with her, and it just brought a tear to your eye as to how they made a teacher feel impactful and also valued, which was awesome. Arizona College Prep High School junior Dea Nath was invited to speak at the Invention League webinar by the Ohio Invention Convention on March 10th. Daya focused on how her problem-solving, critical thinking, and grit has helped her in not just becoming a #1 international best-selling author, but also a superfood company owner, innovator, and entrepreneur at just 16 years of age. I feel that I haven't achieved anything yet when she's achieved everything at age 16. These are the kids we work with, which is amazing. And finally, an impressive 40 national, I'm going to say it again, 40 National Merit Scholarship finalists hail from Basha High School, Hamilton High School, Chandler High School, Arizona College Prep High School, and Prairie High School. The program has approximately 1.5 million applicants identified through the PSAT test, but only 15,000 or the top 1% of the students advance to the finalist stage. Congratulations, everyone. That's 40 National Merit finalists, which is simply amazing. So our kids were busy. I also want to give a shout out real quick to all of our teachers, to all of our administrators, to all of our staff that worked over the break. Some people think when they're on break that schools closed down. They were working during that time, running programs, making sure kids were taken care of for loss of learning, as well as making sure that our competitions were supervised. And so I just want to thank all staff. Not everybody is off for 2 weeks during the break.
Thank you, Mr. Narducci. It's always really nice to hear about the accolades and awards that our teachers and students receive, and some of the really extra things that they're doing for students, or extra things that students are doing for our community. So we really do appreciate hearing those. Are there any board member comments?
I do.
Yes, Mr. Worth.
I think I want to take a minute and just talk about our reserves a little bit. Approximately 40 years ago, Dr. Castile and I first started with the district, and we had no reserves. And what we saw was some of the surrounding districts that did not have reserves started to decline and became quite ugly in those districts. Superintendents were fired, business managers were fired, and board members were unelected. So we started very slowly to build our reserves for the time where we started to decline. But there was a very good unintentional consequence in that we survived 2 recessions, 1 Great Recession, and COVID because of our reserve. We did not lay off anybody. We did not cut salaries. We did not increase teacher-pupil ratio. I do agree with Mr. Rohr about one thing, is I think it is time for us to develop some sort of policy goal, whatever, as to how quickly we reuse those reserves. All I can say is our day for decline is coming. We need to be careful with how we use those. And I have to credit past boards, Dr. Castile, in how we protected and built those reserves. And I think it's important that we protect them. And I do think we need to have a plan as to how we go into the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Worth. Anyone else? Mr. Olive.
Sure, a couple of things. First, on the graduations, Mr. Narducci talked about it a little bit. When I first got the email about how graduations were being changed from the nice, comfortable, air-conditioned ASU basketball court to being on the field, I was like every other parent. I was upset because my mother and my mother-in-law were going to have to sit out in the heat, and we were going to have to wait and do all the things that entail being outside in the heat in Arizona in the summertime. But unlike most other parents, I was able to pick up the phone and call somebody and ask about it. And the reasons that the change was made actually make sense. The ASU folks did change they changed the money, they changed the ticketing, they changed the number of people that could be there. They changed how you're going to have to wear masks and everything. It was a bad deal all around. So thank you to all the high school principals for making an effort to get us there. But I know that it couldn't be done this year for a reason. Second thing is, in our packet of consent agenda things, most people don't realize it, but there's the normal folks in there that are retiring at the end of the year. Their names are in there, and I'd like to say thank you for all those people that have been teachers their whole careers and gotten to retirement, and you guys deserve it, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Olive. Ms. Bruner? No? Ms. Love? No? Okay. Then thank you for attending this evening and listening or watching to our meeting. This meeting is adjourned.